Hello and welcome to the fourth episode of Incantation, a horror movie review podcast where we discuss both classic and current horror movies as well as everything in between. We're four friends from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, with a shared love for everything horror. My name is Joe. With me today is Caleb.
Hello.
Lynn.
Hey.
And Josh.
Hi.
As promised last week, today we will be talking about Beddua, the curse, or the original title will be Harfliler Beddua, which loosely translates to three letters curse. It's a Turkish 2018 supernatural horror movie written by Alper Mestçi, I'm sorry, starring, I'm about to say all these names, Beyzanur Mete and Esma Soysal.
We are losing all our Turkish.
Anyway, all you need to know is they're all pretty ladies in this supernatural horror. All right. So since Lynn, you chose this, how about giving us your initial thoughts? No spoilers.
Okay. So this movie is about four high school friends. Their names are Melek, Bucu, Ada, and Ayla. So in this movie's context, something happened to Melek which caused her to be paralyzed 3 years ago. So we're talking about present day. And so she was not able to speak or move or she couldn't even remember what happened. So the people around the town believe it was the fault of Havel, who is, they claim this person to be an evil witch or a mad witch. Yeah, but it's not explained or there was no proof that she caused Melek to be paralyzed.
Mm-hmm.
So she lives in a secluded hut, and so Melek's friends, they went through a few nightmares during the movie, and then they wanted to find out some truths about what happened between Melek and Havel. So initial thoughts about the movie. I actually watched this movie 2 years ago when it was released. It was my first Turkish movie and the only Turkish movie that I've watched, in terms of horror. And I recommended it because I thought it would be quite interesting to review a film from a country which is not very well known for its horror movies, because I haven't really heard of Turkish horror movies. I think Josh is the only one who has watched one, which is Baskin.
Mm-hmm.
Right, Josh?
Yep.
Yeah. So my thoughts would be, after watching this movie, I find it very entertaining, and the plot twist was quite well done. But however, you kind of need to expect a lot of jump scares, and I'm not a fan of jump scares, and it could get quite annoying when it's like overdone. So yeah, it's an okay movie, good to watch and good to be exposed to Turkish horror yeah.
Could you still remember the jump scares 2 years? Not jump scares. Could you still remember the plot twist?
Yeah, actually the plot twist is the part that I remembered about this movie, not the jump scares.
Right.
But I remember that it had a lot of jump scares and it got quite annoying after like half an hour. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Josh?
Yeah. So like Lynn has mentioned, my only prior exposure to Turkish horror was 2016's Baskin, and that is a film that I still get chills thinking about. I had never heard of the Harfliler cinematic universe prior to the suggestions. This is the fourth film, right? So, and the reason why I love exploring foreign horror films is because when you encounter a good one, right, it reinforces how even when horror is like contextually is localized, there are still elements that are really universal, that can resonate with viewers from a totally different culture or who are viewing it at a different time. It's why, like, for example, we don't have to be Japanese to be creeped out by Ju-on. And by the way, the new Netflix Ju-on series is very violent, very harrowing, and actually pretty good, right? So I don't need to be Swedish to understand Oscar and Ellie's loneliness,
right,
and their bond in Let the Right One In. Mm-hmm. I don't need to be French to never want to experience martyrs again, right? Mm-hmm. And those are what great horror films can do. But there are also some horror films that are just content to scare you or jump scare you into oblivion, and Beddua is one of those. Now, there's clearly a market for these films, right? It's why Beddua was the second highest grossing film in Turkey in 2018, behind Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. But, I mean, when we are living in a golden age of horror cinema and television, and when there are films that are pushing the boundaries of what horror can do, like, The Babadook or Get Out or The Wailing, it can be a little disappointing to sit through a film that is just reliant on overly telegraphed jump scares to thrill its audience. I'm not saying that Beddua doesn't have any redeeming qualities. I mean, there were a couple of performances that I thought were pretty effective, and some of the directorial choices I liked as well, such as, the film's color palette and how they use practical effects instead of CGI for some of the horror sequences. The suffering that Malik has to go through, the thought of being trapped within your own body while you're being subjected to all these tormenting images day and night. Really had me feeling for her. But it's still not enough for me to wholeheartedly recommend this film. It's okay if you want to check out, something that you don't really have to think too much about for an hour and a half. But I wouldn't, like I said, wholeheartedly recommend this.
Right. So I guess Josh has said everything that I wanted to say as well. But
sorry.
I love watching horror, and there is something about horror that is universal, and it transcends language barriers. And like you said, if it's horror, you can feel it and it doesn't matter. If you're looking at it, that's horror, and it doesn't matter what language they're speaking. So that's one of the reasons why I love horror movies so much. So this Harfliler is basically a lot of jump scares. You can basically tell when they're coming by the way that they cut the scenes and the way that the camera is panning around. So I'm just gonna cut to it. It's, for me, it's a really bad film, but it's really entertaining to watch. For me, this is like a so bad it's good kind of horror movie. I thoroughly enjoyed it, but for the wrong reasons. I'm watching it with Caleb, and we were just laughing most of the time. And then I got jump scared once because the sound was too loud. So it was I think it was one of the first jump scares, if I'm not mistaken. So I turned it on, and then they were talking, and I thought this movie is too soft, so I turned it up, and big mistake, it was so loud, the first jump scare. So but other than that, it's kind of repetitive jump scares, and you can see it coming a mile away. Recommended if you want to have a good laugh with friends, and not recommended if you want to like watch a good horror movie. Caleb?
This film is for casual horror viewers. It has all the things that, like, all the simple things that horror movie does to get casual viewers, a lot of people to view it for like cheap scares. There's pretty girls, there's jump scares. That's about it. That's the formula for a successful horror movie.
Right.
To make a lot of money, right? You put in pretty girls and then jump scares. The plot's pretty straightforward. So if you're just looking for a movie to watch just for fun, it's pretty casual. You don't have to dive too deep into anything.
Right. You don't have to use your brain.
Right. You can just put it on and watch and
Yeah.
have fun.
If you think about it for a second, then it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah.
Yeah, but Caleb, I think the most important question is: does this make you want to check out the rest of the Harfliler cinematic universe? or not?
Actually, it does. I do.
I mean, I heard that it has no relation to each other.
Yeah.
The episodes, right? So I don't know, maybe just for fun.
Yeah.
If I have nothing else to watch, I might put it on. Check it out.
Check it out. I would check it out for the practical effects. Actually, the makeup is pretty good.
Yeah.
For a Turkish horror film. Yeah. So yeah. So there you have it, guys. That's our non-spoiler review of Harfliler, part 4. So do stick around. We'll be right back with spoiler discussions. Thank you.
Hala ben korkuyorum. Ben de sürekli kabuslar görüyorum. Yakalanacak o kadın. Yakalanacak ve cezasını çekecek. Yalvarırım onun yanına. Onun daha fazla çekmesine izin verme.
Bu beddua iki tarafı keskin bir kılıç gibidir.
Welcome back, guys. This is the review of Harfliler, The Curse, Turkish horror film of 2018. So we're here talking, we're going to go into spoiler talk, and we're going to talk about, first of all, some of the more positive aspects of the film. Maybe Josh, you can enlighten us.
So, yeah, I there are quite a few things actually about the film that I liked. I mentioned in the spoiler-free section about some of the directorial choices. Mestçi gives the film a washed-out, desaturated look. Like if you're trying to imagine how it looks like, think about Man of Steel or Batman vs Superman. It has the kind of washed-out look that really creates this almost oppressive, like dreamlike quality that matches, I think, what Burcu, Eda, and Ayla are going through throughout the film. So I thought that was a pretty good choice. There are two performances that I enjoyed. I really felt for Nuray Erkal as Melek's mother. Like she really carries this quiet dignity and strength in her long-suffering character that honestly this film really doesn't deserve. It doesn't deserve her performance. I also like Serife Unsal's performance as Eda. I think she really sells Eda's personality as this kind-hearted, animal-loving person who seems to genuinely care and feel distress for Melek. And the bond that she had with her mom also felt quite genuine. When you contrast that with Esma Soysal, who plays Burcu, right? Her overacting, that really left me quite glad that, you know, Burcu's screen time was relatively limited compared to Eda, right? So Serife's performance really is what sold me on the ending twist, which otherwise I really should have seen coming from a mile away, but I didn't. So, but having said all of this, there is wasted potential in this film. I like the theme of the weight of guilt, but it's been explored in other much better films. Like I know you really like the Thai film Shutter, right, Joe? And though that's one that I don't really hold in very high esteem, it is still one that I would recommend over Beddua.
Right.
But yeah, it's not saying that there's nothing to recommend this film. There are, like I said, there are one or two things that I thought were pretty good about it. But Man, the jump scares.
We'll talk about that. We will talk about that. Yeah, so I think for me, the only thing is the practical effects. I really like the makeup. Yeah, it's really disappointing, I would say, that you only get to see the makeup when there's jump scares. And I don't know, but that I found that was the only. I mean, if you want to get technical about it, what's good and what's not, that would be one of the best selling point of it. The practical effects. Other than that, yeah. Lynn, how about you?
I agree with Josh. The setting is oppressive, and the color of the cinematography was good as well. It gives a very kind of vibes.
It's like
Yeah,
all
like
the
Josh
life
said,
has
very
been sucked
oppressive.
out, right? All the life has been sucked out of the
Yeah.
characters and of the film. Yeah.
It's like greenish bluish. I don't know what kind of color is it, but yeah, it gives a very oppressive kind of feel. And performances as well. I think Beyzanur Mete, who played Melek, I think even though her role was just to sit there and act paralyzed, I think it was done pretty well. Especially when she started getting possessed. Was it possessed? Yeah, well, at the end of the scene, at the end of the movie, when we see her getting working together with Havel, yeah, I don't know whether it was a possession or
Was
what.
she
but,
possessed? I think we can
yeah,
talk
I think
about
she
that
did
a
really
little
well.
bit. Was she possessed or does she have powers?
No, before we go into the possessed part, right, I just want to say that Beyzanur Mete as Melek, like she has elevated that single tear coming off of her eye to an art form. Like she is on par with those like K-drama, actors and actresses
How did she do
that are
that?
able to do that. Like I was really impressed by how many times she had to do that throughout the
Right,
Just
entire film.
one tear.
That is quite tough, right?
To just squeeze one tear out.
Yeah. So maybe we can talk a little bit about Melek. I don't quite understand. Maybe certain things are lost in translation, but I don't quite understand her situation. Did she get powers from Melek? No, from Havel, the witch, or does she already have powers? Because that scene with that imam, right, with the
Shaman?
what you call that religious leader.
He was a shaman, wasn't he?
He was explaining that she actually has powers, doesn't she?
I don't know.
I think he explained that she is cursing somebody that she didn't know about. So I'm assuming that she didn't know that her three friends. Should we say that already? Because it's still the
Now we are in spoiler zone, so you can go ahead
Okay.
and talk about it.
Yeah, she didn't know that her three friends were the culprits until that last scene when both of them were working together. So I think Havel, in a way, she is revealing to Melek at the right time, I guess, that those three are the ones, because she keeps having this visions, right? That Havel appearing in front of her, and then that drilling sounds and the chains, her being chained up. She kept having that, but she didn't know who was the one who did it to
Right.
her. And then at the end, that was when Havel revealed to her, when she came in front of her window. And that was when Melek remembered everything. So
Yeah,
I guess she is a witch doctor lah.
No, I actually like the. I don't know whether she's a witch doctor or not. Like, I actually like the ambiguity that we don't know whether Havel actually has any powers. Like her appearing at the window, it could just be a trigger for Melek to remember what has happened, right? And that's how I interpreted the film more like Havel is a misinterpreted character. Like people think that she's this crazy or mad witch, when actually we don't really know too much about her backstory. I don't know whether that's ever explored in any of the other Harfliler films, but that at the time where Melek was attacked by Burcu, Eda, and Ela. Like she was just trying to help her, and all throughout these years, like she's trying to help her to regain her memory, and that's what once that memory is triggered, then Melek's curse was able to find its intended targets
Wow.
in her three friends. So I actually like that. I actually like that. I like that it was a little bit ambiguous, and I'm a bit uncomfortable that it seems like I'm the one that's defending this film.
You've given this a wee bit too much thought, Josh. I mean, yeah.
But at the end, her eyes turned yellow, right?
Yeah, she's sort of like, she was sort of like channeling her spirit or something.
She's like summoning two spirit to kill the other guys.
I mean, one is Havel, and then the
Was
other,
it?
yeah, one of them is Havel, the witch, and then the other one is her. And then she's sort of like astral projecting herself and killing all her other friends, right? So we're diving a little bit too much into. I don't know if we're meant to think that deep into the movie or not. Yeah, but so yeah, since we mentioned Havel, we can talk about some of the things that didn't really go anywhere.
The turtle.
The turtle. Caleb is very hung up on the turtle. So maybe Caleb, you can tell us about the turtle.
The turtle. It's not much to talk about. One of the girls found a turtle lying on the street, and she's like, "I'll just give this to my paralyzed friend."
Is this a thing in Turkish?
Is it?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Maybe it's a cultural thing in Turkey.
They just found a turtle on the floor. She just took it. I'm gonna give this to my friend as a sign of goodwill, I guess, for all the things that she did before.
It's a sign of long life.
She wants her to live so long.
I think it was just to build her character as this animal lover.
It was just that
It was just
it
a
went
plot
nowhere.
device to do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I mean,
The turtle didn't come back. There's no other animals involved except for the bird.
the bird. Yeah, they
That
keep
they
cutting
didn't
back
even
to
do
the bird,
anything.
which doesn't make sense as well. I don't know. I mean, let's get back to Havel. She
She
is.
had like a
I don't know if you like the idea that she's and just ambiguous and then she's just like an outcast. For me, I felt that I needed a little bit more. Like, can I like know a little bit more about what
she had a bit of backstory
she can
that
do?
was said somewhere in the movie. They say that two of her kids died.
Of tuberculosis.
Yeah, tuberculosis. Then I guess she's just seeing them now. And they're just following her, terrorizing people.
Mhm.
That's about it.
Did you guys pick up anything else about Havel? I don't know. Like, there was absolutely no information about her. It's just that she is the village witch, I guess.
Yeah, I agree with Josh. I like the ambiguity of the character. I think it's pretty well explained at the last scene, at the plot twist area. I think yeah, she is just a misunderstood old woman who
Babushka.
no one cares about. So
But she has powers.
I think it's fine. Yeah, I think it's fine for that character not being entirely like explored or like introduced. I mean, she did a lot of weird stuff, like the ritual in Burcu's house, right? The vision that she saw. Those things are weird, like, and it doesn't make any sense, but it's okay.
Yeah, but it doesn't. It might not have been her doing it, right? It is just the curse coming into fruition, right? So it might all just be coming from Melek rather than anything that Havel is doing. I that the last scene in the film is Havel going back to her home and then she sees her two children and she's smiling. And the way I interpreted that was that like she couldn't help her kids, but at least she could help Melek. And so that she feels like this burden that she has is being lifted already. And it's a bit clumsily done because you're wondering where do the kids fit in throughout the film, and even when it's explained that how the kids had died, they were in the film a little bit too much. Given
I mean, they were also involved in terrorizing
three.
Burcu. The
Yeah.
three girls. The two
yeah.
girls. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was a bit clumsy how it was handled, but no, I thought her character was okay. I didn't have a problem with
Okay. Seems like it's shaping up to be an okay movie for you guys.
10 out of 10, baby.
Because I thought everything just didn't make sense for me. Or maybe I was just like,
I think we were too busy laughing.
we were
about
too
the jump scares.
We were too like trying to anticipate the jump scares too much. Yeah. So yeah, let's talk about the jump scares. I mean, the jump scares were super telegraphed, right? Like I think the more effective one, I guess, would be the one where she's praying. Who was praying? Eda was praying, right?
But even then, the camera shifts like it's to her face, to her hands, to her face, to her hands. You just know,
Yeah.
third time around, something's gonna happen, right?
Yeah, so it's that. I mean, for me, that was the best one. But you already see it coming from like 30 seconds ago. So, like, someone's gonna grab her hand and then is gonna shout in her face. And that's the thing. That's another thing as well. The jump scares are all the same. It's just Malik in really horrible makeup, not horrible like in bad, but like really terrifying makeup, and then she's just screaming in their face, and that's it.
And she runs away.
Right. So
Actually, one of the jump scares got me that I liked was the not the bubble in the fish in the bubble. the one where the girl was lying on the bed, I think, and then she jumped out of nowhere from below the bed, jumped onto her.
when the
bed.
fish jumped out of the tank,
Yeah.
the fish jumped out of the tank, and then it turned into her.
Yeah. There was no like quick camera cuts.
Mm-hmm.
It was just the view of her bed and
A white shot.
into her, and then the fish jumping out, and then the ghost jumped out from below of her bed.
Mhm.
That one got me. It was pretty good. I liked it. I liked that one. So the only one jump scare.
Lynn,
I actually couldn't remember any of the jump scares because
what?
I don't like jump scares. Yeah, it's usually not memorable for me. That's why the first time I watched the movie, like, it got to me, but then the second time it's like meh. Like, again, like, okay lah, no effect to me lah. So I actually don't remember any of it.
No, okay.
Yeah.
None of it? All right. Okay. Josh?
Yeah, I mean, it just got exhausting. Lynn, I think, mentioned that it became irritating, and I that's how I felt. Because just the cycle is just so repetitive, right?
Mhm.
The one that I found effective was the one with Eda and her mom, and where she the one where she gets the piece of paper and it's a dream, and it's a dream within a dream, right? I hate myself for falling for that jump scare
That
because that
Inception
is
jump
also another trope, right? You see that all the time.
Right.
But maybe because I was just so taken by Eda's character, so I was just like, oh, okay, let's see what's going on here. No, there's a jump scare. So that was the
Inception jump
yeah,
scare.
but that one worked for me. The rest of them not really.
Right.
Yeah, it kind of got a little too predictable because like there are three characters and it's gonna happen to three of them. So like when it happens to one, it's gonna happen to the other two. So it got a little
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's part of the reason why I was so distracted while watching the film as well. It's just, is it your turn yet? So it's now your turn to get jump scared, and then this next character's turn to get jump scared.
You can tell who's getting jump scared.
Yeah, so it's the moment they shift to another
Yeah.
character, it's your turn to get jump scared.
Yeah.
And
every time they're alone and the camera switches to handheld mode, then jump scare territory. and that's, come on, there's so many other ways that you could do jump scare. Like the pinnacle of jump scares is Exorcist 3, right?
Yeah.
The one at the hospital. I'm not asking you to be the Exorcist 3 for all your jump scares, but come on, there are so many ways that you could do it. You don't have to do the same thing over and over. And I think we need to mention the music as well, because the music is the thing. I think the whole film, the music is the one that really, really piss me off because it's just so overbearing.
Yeah.
It's everywhere.
Yeah.
People are having a normal conversation and you have this generic horror music in the background. Like, what on earth are you doing, man?
There was this one scene I forgot what were they doing, but the music was super epic.
What was that scene?
I don't remember, but it was super out of place.
Oh, I mean, yeah, the music itself is very distracting as well. Yeah, so it's just I don't know if it's the director trying to hide something, and then it's just he feels that the scene is not working, so every single scene he's just putting in music. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know whether it's a cultural thing as well. So I haven't watched enough Turkish horror movies to know whether like they like to put in a lot of music into their horror films, whereas like if you compare them to like Japanese horror films where it's very very minimal the music, they like to they build dread through being just very quiet and very silent, and you're hearing creaks and natural noises, right?
Yes.
So I don't know whether it's that, and so that's why like I'm failing to appreciate that.
Right.
But man, it just got too much after a while. It really got too much.
Okay. So let's talk about the ending twist. For me, I don't know if I can say I saw it coming, but it's kind of like a overdone trope, right? Four friends, and then something happened to one of them is actually their friend who made her this way. And then but yeah, what I was trying to say is when they introduced the witch character Havel, I immediately felt that she wasn't evil. I knew that okay, this is going to be revealed in the end that she was trying to help somehow by doing all these rituals, but I didn't realize that she was actually trying to help Malik instead to get revenge, right? So I guess she was evil in a way, but not like evil in like the whole antagonist of the film. So yeah, so at the end there you find out that the reason why Malik is paralyzed from the neck down is that the friends she and Burcu was fighting over this guy called Mehmet, right? Which we only see in the photo, I guess. Yeah. So then is it through accident, they sort of like pushed her onto this nail, a board with a nail, and then that sort of like paralyzed her, right? So man, I'm losing all these names. The witch, Havel, right? Is the one that's trying to reveal that to her on like through like a ritual and gradual sense. So how do you feel about the plot twist, Caleb?
I mean, if I think back to the movie, I think they have it laid out. They kind of tell you that they're trying to show you that with all these flashing images to tell us that Havel is evil. So that kind of give it away that it's that I don't know. It kind of tells us that she's she's not evil. If you get what I mean.
Say that again. You mean the movie is trying to imply that she's evil, but she's not. Right?
Yeah, but yeah, I don't know. In a way, you saw it coming, but when the movie is trying so hard to make her evil.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's very obvious that the movie is trying to tell you that she's evil.
Yeah, but when the plot twist came in, you kind of get the feeling that she's not evil because of all the things all the bad things they do saying about her, all the bad images they show about her, torturing and all that.
Right. Okay. Josh?
If I want to be unkind, I would say this is I Know What You Did Last Summer, but Turkish, right? But I would actually say, the plot twist at the end really worked for me because it recontextualizes so much of what Eda, Bruchu, and Ayla are doing in the film, right? And I think the reason why I'm sold on that plot twist is because of how nice Eda, Bruchu, and Ayla were throughout the film. Like how they were acting towards Melek, and they seem like really genuine, kind-hearted people. And then when you see the twist, then you realize that everything that they are doing is driven by the guilt of what they have done. Right? So, like when Eda's mom tells her that Melek has talked, and Eda says, what did she say? It really takes on a whole new meaning when you think about it in light of the twist, right? Or the scene where she's praying to God to end Melek's suffering. Like, she's not doing that out of the kindness of her heart. She just wants to end her guilt. Right? And it also closes the circle that was started by Bruchu's conversation with her fiancé at the start of the film. And I thought that was a nice touch. I had completely forgotten about that conversation because of all the mediocre jump scares that we were put through to get to that point. But when it was revealed what had happened, it surprisingly it worked for me. Maybe I'm just a sucker. I don't know, but it worked for me. It did.
Okay, Lynn.
Yeah, I agree with Josh. Actually, the jump scare, the plot twist is the reason why I recommended this film. I think it was very nicely done. Personally, I think it was good. And exactly like what Josh said, the three characters were contextualizing what the previous actions. They was really kind to her and whatnot. But it's really just because they're feeling really guilty. And if you notice the way that each character was killed, it's actually the whatever that they have done to her during that session. Like, for instance, Eda threw mud on her face, right? And she was shoved into a pile of mud. And that's how she died. And then Ayla, she was killing herself with her own hair because she cut Melek's hair. And then what's her name? Bruchu. That was the most brutal one. She was shoved down to a pile of nails. Yeah, because she was the one who pushed.
She vomited out of her own mouth.
Yeah, she vomited, and then she Melek pushed her head. Melek's spirit pushed her head into that pile of nails along with that piece of wood as well. So I actually didn't notice until the second time I watched it, because I thought, okay, they are just being killed by a random method, but actually it was related to how she was being bullied. I really like the plot twist, and I like the last scene as well, where Havel just returned to the two kids. I didn't really understood what it meant, but I think what Josh said might kind of make sense, where she felt like she was helpless to the two kids, but she actually managed to help Melek, and Melek was totally fine right after the killing of the three friends. So I think it worked for me lah. That was the only reason why the whole movie worked for me.
Yeah, Lynn, can I ask you, did you think it's proportionate? I can understand Bruchu, right, and her being killed like that because you have put her through that much suffering, right? But did you think it was proportionate what happened to the other two friends? Because what they did was really, really bad. It's really bad bullying, right?
Yeah.
But did they deserve to die?
I don't think so.
in such a horrifying way. I'd really like to know what you thought about that.
Because I think Bruchu was the only one who wanted to leave Melek during that time, right? Eda and Ayla seemed like they can't leave her. But I think from the victim's perspective, all three needs to die lah. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think because she has been so angry for so long, and that's why it came out like that.
Yeah.
But it doesn't paint Melek. I felt at the end of it it didn't paint Melek in a really good light as well, because it didn't feel like what happened to Eda and Ayla was I didn't feel like they deserved to die like that. When you compare to what they had done. They had done really, really horrible things. But you know, maybe yeah. I don't know. Like Joe, what do you think?
I mean, I always felt that not always. I mean, when it was revealed that Malik is the one. I mean, Malik has this sort of like a supernatural power to curse people or whatever to enact that curse. And then I always felt that she became the antagonist of the film, and she's just going to exact her revenge. And I do feel that it was disproportionate. What happened to the other two girls, Edda and Ella? But they're sort of complicit. Right, so they sort of listen to Virtue. Of course, Virtue is the one that deserved to die, but the other two didn't help her anyway. They just left together with Virtue, and they sort of just went along, and they didn't help her, even though they could have. If they rushed her to the hospital, maybe she could have been saved or whatever, instead of just falling into the hands of that witch, right? So, they definitely were complicit. And if I was Malik, I would kill all three of them. I don't know. That's just me.
Yeah. I mean, it's understandable, but maybe like if you take a step back, it might not look so proportionate.
Yeah.
I think the one thing about Virtue's character that really for me like sold me on like this person is just is a terrible person trying to mask like her
insecurities.
Not insecurities, but like she's trying to mask it with all her doing good. Was when she goes and sees Melek, and she tells her like, I think about you every day. But then when you remember at the start of the film when she was talking to her fiancé and she tells him, I have not thought about her for such a long time already.
Right.
And like that was like, for me, it was like, man, you are just, if anything, like they were starting to feel like, okay, maybe like this story is not going where I thought it was going to go. And I was like, yeah, you are not a good person. Like you appear like you want to appear that you are a good person, but you are really not.
Caleb?
Oh man, don't ask me.
I think Caleb and I was just really distracted with the jump scares. Yeah, to actually read too much into the movie.
Right. I guess I didn't get as much as Lin and Joshua out of the movie. What this movie did to me, the moment they showed like too much jump scare, which is more than one. It kind of feel like it made me feel like I'm watching Final Destination already.
Right.
I'm just watching people get spooked and killed. So I like all the good things that the Josh or Lin said, like the cinematography, the colors and all that. It's out of my mind. I'm just watching people get spooked already. So that's, if you're like a simple person like me and you enjoy just having fun, that's what happened to me watching this movie.
That's just too bad. I mean, that's just too sad. There's a lot of like, I mean, according to Josh and Lin, there's a lot of wasted potential in this movie, right?
Yeah.
So,
but because of that one decision to have so many jump scares, it turned the movie into like a popcorn film. I didn't think much about.
Yeah, you just disengaged your brain.
Yeah,
and then
just to have fun.
You didn't want to think about the whole the backstory of the four friends, their relationship, and that's it.
Yeah,
right. So that kind of ruins it. Right. So maybe give us your score, Caleb.
I'll give it a 4.
A 4?
4 for entertaining me. Yeah.
Okay, just a 4? Do you want to explain your 4?
No.
Okay. For me, this movie, like I guess we sort of like influence each other when the jump scares started to get boring. So yeah, my mind sort of checked out. I mean, in the beginning, where they were setting up all these characters, they even had like character title cards for each of them,
Right.
which was kind of goofy. Which kind of like sort of like reminded me of Suicide Squad, where they had like the stats coming out and all that. So that was weird for me.
I just want to know who is the one voicing over those.
It's Mehmet.
You know.
No, it's a girl.
It's not. It's
It's
not.
a girl. It's a girl.
It's a girl,
And
but it's not Mehmet, because unless Mehmet's talking about herself in third person, because there's a card for Mehmet as well.
it's a girl,
right?
and she's like wishing them all well.
I
So
didn't even think about it.
it
Probably
could
Malik,
it could be Malik, right?
right?
Right. So it's just they're sitting down, and then it's like, oh, all these girls with their like
Have fun
perfect
with afterlife.
exterior, and this is their life now, and yeah, so she's just narrating the whole I killed them kind of thing. I don't know, but yeah.
But there's a card for her. There's a card for Malek as well. What like, is she talking about herself in the third person? Or what's going on?
Right. So I have no idea.
Question for the director.
Like, I'm wishing myself well. I'm really good.
Godspeed. Yeah. So the when the the cards came out, and then like the first jump scare, the second jump scare, the third jump scare. I mean, by the time they got to the third one, I sort of checked out, and then I didn't care what happened at the end of the movie. Yeah. So the twist ending didn't really do that much for me. But that was due to the jump scares, right? So yeah, the way I watch horror movies is if you set it up and then you're just gonna push it all down with jump scares, and then I'm not gonna engage on a second level or a third level to really think about the relationship of the people, of the characters. But yeah, so I guess we shouldn't watch it together next time. Because you and I were just goofing off and laughing the whole time. Right. Yeah, so for me, it would be like a 5 out of 10, right? The jump scares took away a lot. But yeah, the makeup is good. The makeup is good. Josh, over to you.
Take it away.
Yeah, I can appreciate that not every horror film has to try to push the boundaries of the medium, right? Sometimes you just want a mindless horror thrill ride, or you want something that pays homage to, other more influential films. But even if you're going to do that, like, you have to do it well. And there are some good things about Beddua, but they are just buried beneath an avalanche of generic jump scares and over-the-top horror music. It's okay, right? I'm not compelled to catch any of the other films in the UC Harfliler extended cinematic universe, and I won't be watching this film again. For me, it's probably, it gets a 4 out of 10.
Right.
And I want to point out, right, that the person on IMDb who said that, and I'm quoting, "This film is one of the great horrors like The Evil Dead." Like, man, I want to smoke what you are smoking, because no, man, no.
It's 7 out of 10 on IMDb.
Right. So Lynn, you're the one who recommended the movie. Give us your score.
So the first time I watched it, I would actually give it quite a high rating. I wasn't a jump scare fan since forever. So like back then my score was still pretty low. I mean, like, I liked the plot twist, but my score was about like 7. Watching it the second time, it didn't really, I guess I won't watch it the third time lah. And I guess the 3 of you wouldn't watch it the second time as well.
You got 3 other films in the cinematic universe to check out. Don't check this out again.
Yeah, surely. I might watch the other series though. Like, I think there's Sikin and Musalat or something like that. Those seem like they have good reviews, but then can't trust reviews online because this one gets a 7 on IMDb. But anyway, I like this film because of the plot twist. I think it was good. I think I mentioned it a couple of times already. But like what Joe said, the jump scares really took away a lot of points. And I think the plot, in terms of like the themes and all in this movie, they're actually okay, but it's just too many jump scares. They could have done so much better with I mean, they could build the plot much better, like explain more about the two children, or even explaining more about Havel or the three girls. But they just decided to do jump scares. So, it's I feel like it's a waste of potential for this movie. But I don't know. Yeah, maybe if it's second on the list, I think Josh, you mentioned, right? They're second after Jurassic World. Yeah.
Yeah, it's Jurassic
Yeah.
World,
I mean, if they're
Fallen
if
Kingdom.
they're second in Turkey, maybe the Turkish people like this lah. But yeah, I guess for us, it's probably didn't really work out for us. So personally, I would give this after watching it the second time, I would give this a 5, at most 5.5.
Right.
Yeah, but yeah, I guess good exposure to Turkish horror. You guys know what to expect after this. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So I'm not sure if there's any film. I mean, I'm pretty sure there are other better films that you can watch. Right. But Turkish horror, I don't think there are any. Josh, maybe
I do have a couple. Yeah. Well, if you need any recommendations, look, if you like this kind of thing, maybe check out the other films in the Harfliler extended cinematic universe, right?
You haven't even watched it.
But if you need, I don't know. I mean, like, there's a reason why it's at number 4, right? It's just like, 1, 2, and 3 must have probably been something in the same
I
vein.
feel like if we watch the others,
okay.
maybe we get a better context of like the fourth one. Maybe.
I have a feeling that if I watched the other ones, I would not have watched this one.
Maybe Havel's backstory was on the other movie.
Yeah, maybe. You don't know. But yeah, Josh, go ahead with your recommendation.
Yeah, look. So if you need a crowd-pleasing possession film involving a group of friends, you could check out Fred Alvarez's 2013's Evil Dead. So it doesn't really have the humor of the Sam Raimi films. It's really quite gory, but I think it's a whole lot of fun, especially if you're watching with a bunch of friends. Now, if you want to explore Turkish horror films, then a good place to start would be Baskin. Now, I said at the top that, it gives me chills even to think about it right now. But basically what it's about, it's about a group of 5 policemen who are called in to provide backup at this deserted building outside of town. And they literally descend into hell, right? And this is a whole different level of gore compared even to Evil Dead.
Wow.
Right? It's traumatizing. It's really relentless once it gets going. Like, so many people get their body parts removed really slowly. And it's a really uncomfortable film to watch. I feel unclean just talking about it right now. But for me, it's one of those one and done films that I never want to revisit again. But if it's something that you think that you might enjoy from my description, one, maybe you need to seek professional help. And 2, if you want to check out Turkish horror films, check out Basket.
Yeah. So none of us has watched any other Turkish horror films, right? So, all right. So that wraps up our episode of Incantation review for Harfliler, episode 4, I guess, right? So if you guys liked what you hear, do check us out next time. We are going. Actually, this week wraps up our possession theme horror movie reviews. So
although our last 2 films were not technically possession films.
Well,
one of it was called Possession.
Well, whose fault is that?
It's Caleb's fault, of course.
We got a 10 out of 10 from that movie, so
right. No regrets. No regrets. Right. So we are gonna start a new theme for our review, and I'm gonna pass it over to Josh to introduce us our next theme and our next title.
Okay, so the next theme that we're going to be looking at is occult, right? So films that involve mystical or supernatural practices. And the first film that we are going to check out is my recommendation. It's a film from 2016, the directorial debut of Liam Gavin, and it's called A Dark Song. I have only watched it once, and it is the story of a grieving mother and how she wants to undergo a particular ritual, and I've watched it 3 years ago, and I absolutely loved the film, and I can't wait to watch it again and to talk about it with you guys.
All right, there you have it, guys. We will be reviewing A Dark Song in our next episode. So do subscribe to us. Stay tuned for more. Bye-bye.
Bye.